All right, let me try this. I hope this works. Many of you already know that I'm a professional career consultant, and my name is Yvonne, just in case you don't know. And one of my motto is to improve your professional life. I am determined to improve individuals, business leaders, professional and students' professional life. So I was at a meeting today about high performance in your workplace today. And while I was at the meeting, it was a lot on my mind. It was just going and going and going. And one of the things I do when I'm at meetings and workshops, I tend to really begin to absorb the information I'm receiving in order to see how I can implement it or even improve my own professional life. So in that regard, I was thinking about how many times I meet people that are feeling stuck in their career or job, and they're ready to jump ship, but they don't know how to. They don't know if the timing is right, or they don't know if they should. So I just want to discuss some things in terms of that, because I hear this from a lot of people. Most people are not satisfied with what they are doing, and most people don't enjoy or feel their job is rewarding or not. But nevertheless, I remember often my bishop, Robert Rochford, for those who know him, he always says something like this: when something is irksome, it's time to leave. Now, that sounds profound, and it is very much profound. And people should find a way to leave. But sometimes people do not leave, and they stay stuck when they should leave, because now they are no longer adding value. But I find it interesting throughout my years that people, despite things being irksome, despite them feeling unrewarded, that they rather stay and complain. They don't want to leave, like my Bishop Rochford always say, which I think is very valuable to think about. Instead, they want to complain or deal with self-pity rather than to take action or inventory. So I want to just share a list of a few things based on a few questions, and one of them are, what are some of the things that happens that make people want to jump ship? Many people talk about jumping ship, but what are some of the things that happens that make you want to jump the ship, if you will? Well, in my list I have, and feel free to chime in terms of writing something in regards to how you feel, what make people want to jump ship. So I'm going to move fast because I don't want to belabor it, and I have two other categories to cover. Sometimes people want to jump ship when a career or job is no longer rewarding, with or without the desired pay. Money does not answer always all things when it comes to feeling rewarded. Sometimes people want to jump ship when you exhausted all your talent in a role or your skills seem underutilized. Another thing, when you are no longer feeling challenged, when you're no longer feeling value or feel like you can add value to an organization or to a role. Sometimes you want to jump ship when you feel there is no growth or opportunities. It could be growth vertically, meaning promotion-wise, going up the corporate ladder or the company's ladder, or it could be growth horizontally, where you're talking about expanding your knowledge, expanding your implementation, expanding your role or your input or strategic opportunity. Another reason people want to jump ship is when they are constantly overlooked for promotion, for training development, and other opportunities within a company. Sometimes people want to jump ship when your ideas are no longer solicited or even appreciated, or when you dislike or hate what you're doing, no matter how great or how valuable the organization seems to feel that the role is. You do not like doing that job. Another time is when you're underpaid, which is most people feel they're underpaid, so that's a given. But nevertheless, people still stay stuck, or they get stuck. The second one I want us to think about is why people sometimes allow themselves to get stuck or stay stuck. You're stuck, so stuck, don't know what to do about stuck, don't like being stuck, but you allowed yourself to get there, or you allow yourself to stay there. Some of the reasons are valid. It definitely are. One, people fear losing job and financial security, so they allow themselves to get stuck in roles that seem to lose value and purpose. Some people get so comfortable, which I must say, you got to be careful getting comfortable at jobs and in roles today, because job security is not the same as it was 20 and 30 years ago. So you stayed in that role, you get so comfortable, you stayed in that role so long, you don't know how to, one, get out, you don't know how to do anything else, or even pursue your dreams or areas where you may just feel value. Some people, which I realize is very interesting, is fearful of change or risk. In order to get unstuck, we have to consider that it will take change, a change of environment, a change of your friends, a change of location, a change of the job function, a change of what you were good at. Now you have to learn it or maybe become better at it. People tend to say, well, I know what I got. You know that expression? If you're feeling me, I know what I got, but I don't know what I'm going to get, so I might as well just stay here. But that's fear talking. Most people, if they need to get unstuck, they have to deal with change and face risk factors. And most people do not want to do that. Some people are afraid of change because they don't feel they have the skill, the knowledge. People might not like them, may not embrace them. They feel they don't have the competencies to execute the job or add value. Maybe in your current role, everyone likes you, everyone values you, but regardless of their valuing you, you feel stuck. You feel like you are, what do they say, a caterpillar in a cocoon, or you're not turning into a butterfly, or the process of turning into a butterfly, you feel stuck, you want to get out. And you know sometimes when you get out prematurely, it could cause, it could be tragic. So you don't want to get out prematurely, but you don't want to stay stuck because of things that you should probably think about in order to move forward. You don't want to allow fear to keep you stuck. You don't want to allow just getting paid a certain salary to keep you stuck. And as you know, if you ever was 20 and now today you're 40 or 50 or 60, you know time is of essence and time is a factor. So people stay stuck because they're afraid of change, or they're afraid of taking risks, afraid of failure. Some people are afraid of failure. They're comfortable here. I know I can do this. I don't think if I move on, I might not succeed in that. And that's a risk you have to take. Some people fear the results of sacrifice to move to the next level. The result of sacrifice might to get to your dream, or to get to that job that's more rewarding or more purposeful. You may have to sacrifice something. It may be that you're not getting paid the 6 figures or the 80 and 90,000. You may have to get paid starting out 50, or even 40 for that matter. Or you may have to give up some vacation. You may have to give up some of your time because you don't want to put in the time or the effort to do what is necessary to get to that dream, or what is necessary to jump out the ship and get to that other place that's more of your purpose. I often think back of Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey, how they were so about their dream that they had to sacrifice a lot of things, and sometimes it was humiliating situations. I believe it was Tyler Perry that said that he lost his apartment and became homeless. Steve Harvey mentioned that he slept outside hotels where people thought, his family thought he was sleeping in a hotel, but he was literally sleeping in front of the hotel in his car. So that was a sacrifice. I remember, I believe this man is Randy Kurtz, who wrote a book, Kurtz, Kearse, who wrote a book after he spent time in prison for 15 years. He shared how when he got home, his homeboys and people thought he could hang out and he was going to be the old him, but he had to sacrifice. Staying in the house summertime, during leisure time, doing sacrificing fun and sacrificing things that he was used to, his comfort zone, in order to get his books written and to become a motivating speaker. Some people stay where they are because they believe it's tough out there. They're afraid of the unknown. They haven't even researched or even sourced opportunities because they just gave up and feel, it's tough out there. And one of the worst things, some people stay stuck because they listen to their critics. They tell their dreams, they tell their aspirations to the wrong people, and the critics are all in their ear. Not just the critics on the outside, but the critics with inside, the critics from your past, your childhood, your teachers or family members that might have criticized you or was condescending, so you stay stuck feeling like, well, this is all you're worth. At least you got a job. At least you're doing something 9 to 5. Some people stay stuck, which is really detrimental, is that they allow their skills to get outdated. This is the 21st century, people. We have to stay relevant. We have to stay current with our skills and our talent. We can't be afraid of Facebook. We can't be afraid of LinkedIn. We can't be afraid of social media. We can't be afraid of learning the computers. We can't stay dated. Dated will cause us to get stuck in situations for possibly, unfortunately for some people, a lifetime. Some reasons we get stuck is because we have unrealistic expectations. You thought, or you feel when you jump out the ship, life is going to be full of bliss and everything's going to go well. So you know what? We run back to that comfort zone, to that place of comfort, a place of familiarity, because we had unrealistic expectations. We got skills that people will pay $40,000, but we think we should jump the ship and make 80, or we think we're going to jump the ship and start a business overnight without putting in the work or the time and the effort. And just as a newsflash, most people that make it overnight or seem like overnight wonders, that is a far exception. But it is definitely not the rule. Some people stay stuck because they value money over valuing their purpose and their dream. So it's just about the almighty dollar. But one of the things I tell my students and professional individuals that I interact with, that now, especially today, everything we do, at least most things, should be deliberate and purposeful and not always about money. Money can answer many things, and Lord knows I love money. But to stay stuck, frustrated, defeated because of money, because you just need that almighty dollar, can end up being to your demise. Unfortunately, some people feel they're too old. Well, if you feel you're too old, get that right out of your head. Don't let your age, you heard it before, be your cage. You are not too old. When I was in college at 25, this man who was sitting in my same class was 70 years old, going to get his associate's degree. Another teacher that I interacted when I did a professional development workshop with the College of New Rochelle, she was raving to me that she was 64 and she just received her doctorate degree. She waited for her children to get older and grown and out the way. And her husband blessed her and said, go on and do your doctorate at 64. And you know now, many people are retiring much later. I worked at a job where at the time I was in my 40s, not trying to date myself, But I was in my 40s. And believe it or not, I was working with coworkers that was millennium, that was XY, but I was also working with the silent crew, which were 70, 74, 69. So you are never too old to jump out the ship and go pursue, whether it be the other job, the other career, or your dream. Not only that, when they laid us off for that job and it folded, the first person that got another job at that company was the 74-year-old lady. And she was the first, even out of me and many of us. And let me tell you why. Because even though she was in her 70s, she remained relevant. She knew her stuff, and she was computer literate and computer savvy. She even was teaching me stuff, and she was even helping me, and I was only in my 40s at the time. Last I knew, she got to be about 78 now. She's still working. So you're never too old. Some people stay stuck because they feel it's not the right timing. So they keep waiting for the right timing. Newsflash, it may never, ever be the right timing in your calculation. You have to make the timing happen. You don't always have to jump totally out the ship right away. You can put one foot out, get started, and maybe keep the other in, however way you want to look at it. But don't ever start waiting just on timing. There is a rationalization to have good timing, but not when you allow timing to keep you back from moving forward, and that becomes your excuse or your crutch. Timing is not the right timing. It's never perfectly going to be the right timing. We just, as people, have to learn to take some risks, but intelligent risks, right? Another thing, when I'm getting back to critics, we keep listening to critics and dream killers, hanging out with them, with people that's not going anywhere, not about anything. They okay, which is nothing wrong with this. They're okay with just making it day by day and just being. All right? That's okay. But not okay when you allow them to keep you stuck. And you and to defeat your dreams and your happiness. They're not going to be able to understand it. The frustration of you feeling stuck, because they're okay with feeling stuck. Long as they're getting a paycheck, long as they're waking up to go to a job every day. Hey, that's them. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not you. All right, I'm coming down, almost concluding. I'm thinking about some thoughts on what to do before you make your final decision of whether or not to jump ship. Just suggestions. Don't go tomorrow and say, I like what Yvonne said, I'm going to quit my job. Some people have done that, but it took sacrifice. And it was okay. Sometimes it takes tears. Sometimes it takes you thinking about, what in the world did I just do? Sometimes it takes prayer. And sometimes things don't always fit clear. But it's going to be worse on you if you remain stuck. But you need to think about how to get unstuck without jumping unintelligently. All right? Thoughts on what to do before you make that final decision or come close to that final decision. Number one, I feel, is to count up the cost. What will it cost you? If the cost outweigh the gain, stay where you are. If the cost, and the cost is not just money. When I say count up the cost, I'm not just talking about money. Cost means sacrifice. Cost might mean family time. It costs your family time because you're about business. Cost might mean you might end up, not you, I hope not, but Tyler Perry ended up in a car. But my God, look where he's at today. no one could ever imagine. All right? So count up the cost. What does cost mean to you? If the cost outweigh the gain, you might need to stay. If the gain outweigh the cost, then you might need to think of what's your next step. And you ever heard the phrase, if it doesn't cost you nothing, it's not worth going after? So anything you want to pursue, when you have to jump the ship, is definitely something that's going to take some cost. But you don't want the cost to be detrimental to you. What will it cost you to jump the ship and pursue your dream? Think about it. Will it cost you financial security, ability to spend more money leisurely, vacation time? Will it cost you time to hang out with your friends, time from church if you're a churchgoer? Versus what will you gain? You possibly gain your dream being realized, your purpose being fulfilled, your ability to help people, more peace at night, more feeling value and worth. So if that gain overweighs the cost, then you might think of what your next step will be. All right? Okay, some other questions I wanted to ask. When might it be time or close to the time to consider jumping? When, other than just having the cost, counting the costs up. One, when you have a plan A and a plan B in place. Not everything has to be in place. It's not ever going to be a perfect situation because life is unpredictable. But you need to at least have a plan and write the vision and make it plain so you can resort back to the vision. All right? Also, like I said, when you counted up the cost and it doesn't outweigh the gain, might be close to the time to jump ship. Another time you might think of jumping ship, and it could be one, all, or none. You might have your own idea. Is when you're losing sleep over it. Or you're in a business meeting and a training like I was, and my mind, I'm enjoying the training, believe it or not, it was excellent. But at the same time, my mind is like a typewriter. I'm thinking about other things and what I could do and how I need to call a friend that I think could partner with me and all of that. All of that's going on wild, believe it or not. They say we can't multitask, but I enjoyed the training. It was going on in my mind. I was being restless about it. And I had a mentor that once, she speaks about what is keeping you up at night. What is keeping you up at night? Is considering doing something else or adding something else to your life or engaging in something else in your life is keeping you up at night, right? If it's keeping you up at night, it might be time to think about a plan A and B so that you can eventually, not tomorrow, don't get me in trouble, but eventually jump ship. All right? Another thing is when you're starting to be frustrated. You're frustrated going where you're going 9 to 5. You're frustrating yourself. You're frustrating people. If you're frustrated, you're going to frustrate people around you. That's all you do is talk about it. You complain. I remember, I forgot his name, Les Brown was saying, 80% of people that got to hear your complaints got their own problems, so they don't want to hear it, and 20% don't even care. So when you're starting to get so frustrated, start doing something about that situation, that cocoon you feel you're locked into. Start doing something to grow you, to increase your skills, to equip you, that when you jump ship or shift to another ship, that you are equipped, ready, willing, and able. You heard of that? Ready, willing, and able. That's I think it's a company. It's a company for people that want jobs. It's something they say when you're unemployed. Were you ready? And were you ready? And I think willing or able to work, something like that. When you're ready, willing, and able, you know it's time, and you're frustrated, but you're ready, willing, and able. It may be time to go. When you know in your gut that this is what you are called to do and know you can do it, may not have all your ducks in a row, may not have everything lined up, may not have this perfect picture, but something in your gut just won't let you stay comfortable where you are. That is a time to consider where you might need to go. Another thing is when you feel it's worth the sacrifice and willing to take that sacrifice or that risk. Might be something you think about. Okay, it's time. It's time. Some people, they take a while. They say they're going to retire and they keep staying and they're frustrated, they defeated, they don't like it, or they just feel like they no longer can be add value to that place or to that role, but they keep staying there because they're not ready to take that risk. They're not ready to take the deal with the change of not going to that same situation every day, or not showing up, or not being around those same people, or doing what they feel is comfortable. But when you are ready to take that sacrifice and willing to take it, then it might be time to go. And like I said, when you are not adding value, companies, people, that role, that position don't need you if you no longer can add value and you are stagnated and you can't add value. You're doing the company, the position, even a ministry in that ministry role. I'm not talking about the ministry at large, that ministry role, a disservice if you stay stuck there. Unless you know how to be stuck and still be effective. Most people do not know how to be stuck and still be effective. All right, so I'm coming to the conclusion. I hope you have gained something from this, but I do want to say this. I have no profound statement to leave with you, but I do want to encourage individuals that are feeling stuck to, one, take inventory as to why. Your why might be a good thing. I don't know. Might be a good thing once you take inventory and you say, I know why. It's because I want to make sure I put my child through to college financially. That might be a good thing. I don't know. That's up to you. Take inventory of yourself. Take inventory of why you are stuck and why you tend to remain stuck even when you don't want to be stuck. Secondly, then take initiative to take some form of action. I often, you know the phrase, not me, I don't often say it, but we often hear it. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and expecting different results. And one of my pet peeves is when people fuss and fuss and fuss and complain and complain and complain about a job or about a situation that they're over or a part of, and they don't do anything about it. 10 years later, they're still there complaining. So I do want to say this, though. Take some form of action, and some of the action might be not to jump the ship. That's your action, is to do nothing in terms of that, but don't stay there. If you don't jump the ship, find ways to explore new possibilities or new function and activities or new assignments that you can add value to. You can add value within that role. Sometimes you think you need to jump the ship and all you need to do is talk to management. Maybe they could create another role for you or create some different processes for you or let you do some training that may make you feel more valuable. Expand your knowledge. Like I said, expansion don't always have to go upward in terms of promotion. I said that in the beginning.